There we go. We'll get started in about a minute.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Perfecto.
Oh, she's practicing Italian.
I love it.
I think we'll be spending a lot more time in Italy. We've just spent a week at the castle, so our new home.
Yes. I would understand why you stay there a little longer.
Consciousness is tough work, huh?
Well,
It is,
someone's got to work at it. Okay, recording. Almost there. Yeah. Here we go, on the dot of 9 o'clock. Okay, translators, are you ready? And start your recording. It's my favourite bit of the call, doing that. Okay, so welcome everyone to this, our third call in our 3-month series, Intimacy with Money. What we thought we'd do today, actually we're really excited about tonight's call because, well, you'll see why in a minute. We've had some fantastic questions come through, so thank you. And Jasmine, I know is on. We've got a question from you. We'll cover that towards the end of this call, and it'll probably take a little bit longer than this call, but it's a great question you sent through. But what we thought we'd do is just do a little bit of a recap of what we've covered in the past 2 calls, and then ask you some questions, or if you've got any questions around that. So the first call that we did, we invited you to be vibrationally compatible with and vibrationally attractive to money. So our question for you is, how's that working for you? What questions do you have around that? What have you come up across when you've looked at this vibrationally compatible with and vibrationally attractive to money? Did that raise any questions for people? This is your chance to raise them. And you can do it now, or you can do it as the call goes on. The second thing that we invited you to look at was your current financial situation. And we've had a lot of feedback on that from people saying it's totally changed the way. They're no longer scared. They're now looking at it from a very different place, and things are starting to change already. So how's that working for you?
There are a few people that actually put some energy and some attention in looking at their current finance, and they have reported in to say that they have changed and shifted the way they look at their reality and their financial reality. So for those people who haven't actually made the choice to do that, never too late, and don't judge yourself for not doing it. So everything that is time of Godzillion, destroy and uncreate, everywhere that would not allow you to choose that, because it is something that you would have to choose if you want to change, if you want to create something different. So everywhere that you resisting and refusing to look at your current finance, everywhere that you have a reason and justification about why you couldn't do it, whether I don't have any time, I'm so afraid, I don't have anything to look at. Everything that is time of Godzillion, destroy and uncreate it all, please. Right or wrong, good or bad, POC and POD, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. Because if you would like to change your financial situation, even if you're already a millionaire, you can be a billionaire if you keep running. What generative energy space consciousness can you and your body be that would allow you to be vibrationally compatible and vibrationally attractive to money with total ease? And it's not something that you run once and stop. It is something that you have to be willing to choose every day. We do it every day. Every morning I would wake up and say, all of life come to me with ease, joy, and glory. What generative energy space consciousness can my body and I be that would allow me to be vibrationally compatible and vibrationally appealing and attractive to money with total ease? Everything that would not allow that, right or wrong, good or bad, POC and POD, all 9 shorts, boys and beyond. So please, please, please choose and keep choosing and keep choosing, you will see the different possibilities starting to open in your reality in your life. We just came back from 8 days at the castle, 8 days spending with Gary Douglas, with COP in the castle. We still don't know where we are at the moment. You know, everything changed, everything shifted in our universe. And we would like to share that energy with you, that everything can be totally different and totally create different possibility if you choose.
So I love that comment from Muriel, who said that she feels more connected with money and communion in a greater space. And that's really what we're after, because it's that connectedness. It's that sort of quantum entanglement with money, with wealth, that actually enables you to see it where it is out there. Now, today we're going to get into a little bit more detail, because of some of the questions that were asked, about what that might look like in terms of, you know, creating wealth and investments and so on. But we just want to go through this first with you. So the first week was really looking at being vibrationally compatible with and vibrationally attractive to money. Now, please continue to run it constantly, always. It's not something that you do now and then you're done with it. Always, always be in that question. What would it take to be even more vibrationally compatible and more vibrationally attractive?
Being connected with money is a good start. So what would it be like if you connected communion and being vibrationally compatible with money? It's the energy space and consciousness that we all can choose to be. And it's a choice. We're going to talk a lot about choice, because at the end, if you have not chosen to do it, it's a choice that you can choose now to do it.
That's great. I'm just starting to read Alexandra's comment there. It's a very long one, so it'll take me a little while to read it. So the second call that we had was looking, and this has been a really interesting one, where we invited you to look at your budget or your expenses, but we invited you to look at it from a different space. If you looked at each of your expense lines or each of your budget lines that showed expenses, and then asked, so what would need to change so that this was actually a revenue stream for us? Now, just a little hint, when I did that when I was the CEO of our organisations, I would literally sit down with the budget, I'd look at the expenses, I'd get my senior staff around me, and I'd say to them, how can we make money out of this? What would that look like? What would need to change so we could make money out of our cars? What would need to change? And we came up, and every year we'd grow the bottom line by about $1 million just by asking that question. So we invite you to look from that space of possibility, that space of excitement, and it's really practical. Everything that you think is an expense, if you view it as a revenue item, you'll start to look for the revenue opportunities that will come from it.
And what would it be like if you start looking at all of your expenses instead of from the space of liability? You can start looking at from the space of possibilities and from the space of assets. So everywhere that would not allow you to actually look at your current financial reality. And please do not judge yourself for not having done it if you haven't done it. So it's never too late. So start looking at it, because if you would like to change your financial reality, you have to be willing to be aware. And the key word here is awareness. Without awareness, you cannot change. Without awareness, you cannot create different possibilities. So everywhere that would not allow you to be doing and choosing to look at your current finance, what reference points you are using to stopping you from choosing to look at your current financial situation with total ease? Destroy and create it all, please. Right or wrong, good or bad, POC and POD, online, shorts, boys, and beyonds. What reference point and objective are you using that would, to avoid the money you could be choosing? We have been doing the reference point and objective a lot at the COP this time. And what Gary said is the reference point and the objective are the two things that actually stopping you from creating more and generate more wealth, money, and everything in your life. So if you look at your reference point, and if you're willing to destroy and uncreate your reference point and objective, then you can start creating everything more and new and open the door to different possibilities for you. Everything that is time of God, zillion, destroy and uncreate it all, please. Right or wrong, good or bad, POC and POD, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds.
Vincent's written a great comment there. And Vincent, we've been following your chronicles on the Facebook group. So yeah, we do lurk in the background and read these things. So Vincent said, I made a recording and I've done the clearing 30 times a day and there's been no shifts yet, he says. And this is the whole thing, is you've had 40 years of not doing this. Please just continue doing it. And by continuing doing it, it's not doing it just for the sake of doing it. Tap into the energy of what it would be like to be vibrationally compatible. When you get an inkling of that, start to explore that, play with that, follow that through. Knowing that it's possible is 9/10 of actually getting to the space of being that vibrationally compatible.
And Vincent, this is not just for Vincent, but for everyone. Of the point of view do you think that the shift should look like?
Oh, that one.
You know, we have the point of view about when I have the shift, when I have the things that make me totally change, it should look a certain way.
Did the earth move for you too, darling?
What
No.
if there's many shifts happening and generating in your life, but it's not the way you think it should be? Everywhere you think that the shift should supposed to be the certain way, which stopping you from acknowledging and receiving and perceiving the slight shift that's happening in your life. Destroy and uncreate it all, please. Right or wrong, good or bad, POC and POD, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyond. There's no such thing as no shift. The shift does happen. The change happens in every moment and every day. But it might not fit your expectation and your conclusion about what the shift is supposed to look like. So all of the reference point and all of the projection and expectation of what the shift supposed to be for you, for all of you, please destroy and uncreate it all, please. Right or wrong, good or bad, POC and POD, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Would you be willing to see that some shift is so slight that if you not really expand your awareness to see it, you will just miss it. You change, you already changed. But if you say there's no shift, you have destroyed all a little shift and all little things that happen in your life. So say, okay, I have not actually perceived the shift that I expected it to be. What if there are all kinds of shifts that happening in my life that I have not claimed on and acknowledged it? Everywhere that would not allow me to be that. So you can say that everywhere that would not allow me to be that, to perceive that, to receive that with total ease. Destroy and uncreate it all, please. Right or wrong, good or bad, POC and POD, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Vincent, would you be willing to open yourself up to know that there are shifts that occur in your universe, in your life, but it's not exactly how you expected it to be? Everywhere that you have the projection, expectation, and judgment that it should totally shift and change your life in totality, destroy and uncreate it all, please. Right or wrong, good or bad, POC and POD, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds, and be willing to catch little glimpse of change and shift that's transpiring in your life.
Did you want to say anything, Vincent? Hi.
Just to the clearings, yes.
Hey. For any of you who've done any sort of work in the science field, you know that there's a thing called the observer effect, which means that if you observe an experiment, the very observation of it changes the experiment. And it's exactly the same thing. It's the quantum mechanics, the quantum physics, the quantum entanglements, where when you're starting to be aware of something, Being aware of it is not an endpoint. Being aware then changes it. So as you put your attention to something, as you are willing to receive greater awarenesses about something, it fundamentally changes. It's just one of the rules of the universe. So if you're going to have your awareness somewhere, you may as well have it on. So what can I be and do different to be more vibrationally compatible with money? Not a bad thing to have your awareness on. Just by doing that, you'll start to change it.
So Vincent, what would a shift mean to you? Having a true shift, true change look like to you?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Perfect.
Yes. Yes. Kind of shifting from the initial shift I'm looking for is shifting from spending more than is coming in to same in, same out, and then shifting again to having more coming in than's going out. Okay,
Vincent, the shift in that aspect that you talk about is something, the choice that you have to change within yourself as well. You have shifted the energy with the clearing you have created. What would it be like if you start shifting from being a consumer and being someone who just consuming and spend money? So it's instead of getting money and spending money, you have to be willing to look at the choice you make and shift from the being a consumer to being the stakeholder.
And investor.
A creator source of your reality. So be willing to do, have, create something totally different. You shift the energy by just all the clearing that we are doing. And at the same time, you have to be willing to be, do, have, create, and generate something totally different in your life. So the next step is you have to be willing to look at, okay, I am spending a lot of money at the moment. So what can I be and do different here that would allow me to let go of spending and start generating more in my life with total ease? Because spending and generating is the choice that you have to be and do. It's something that you have to choose to be and do to make the change.
And it's interesting because it's not just about spending less. And this is for everyone. And this is fabulous, Vincent, that you've raised this with us. It's not just about spending less. It's not just about creating more. It's your willingness to know where both of them are. Because we know some people where they make more money, they spend more money. And they make more money and they spend more money. So they're not actually willing to have money. They're getting money and then spending money. And that's the cycle that they've decided is how they want their reality to be. Well, what if you chose something different? What if you were able to actually create and generate even more money, but did something different with it than the old spending routine? And that's what we want to cover a little bit today, is what some of these different things might be that you might want to look at doing. Because quite honestly, if you are willing to destroy and uncreate all of your definitions of where money should come from, all your definitions of what money should look like, all your definitions and conclusions about how it's going to appear in your life, then what you'll start to do is to realize that it's actually there in places you hadn't even considered. Part of that then is to realize you can do more with that money than just spend the darn stuff.
What would it be like that every single dollar you spend actually go out and create and generate more for you? But still, it's the different space that you have to be willing to look at. Because if you're spending money as just losing money instead of spending money to grow and generate more money, that's totally different energy space and consciousness that you would have to be willing to operate from. So start looking at all your expenses and spending and look at, okay, how many of those expenses and spending that you are using and doing that actually diminish your wealth instead of growing your wealth? So, and we're not saying about you to cut costs.
No, don't.
If you
don't
really
cut costs.
enjoy spending and you have a wonderful life spending, and you want to generate more, then you have to be willing to be the question: what can I be and do different to generate more money more than what I could ever spend.
And never enough.
And never stop generating more. If you enjoy spending those money and those money create more in your life, when we're talking about create more, we're not always talking about go out and create and generate more money. Because if by using those money, you actually generate and create more in your life, which means more possibility, more joy, more fun, more prosperity, more change, more awareness, then keep spending. And at the same time, you have to be willing to ask, okay, so what can I be and do different here to generate more so I can use that money to create more in my life?
Leeson, did you say something?
No, it was just going on and off here. No worries.
Okay, cool. So the thing there is that we know a lot of people. I've just had an aha moment myself. We've met a lot of people where they think they want to create more money so they can spend more money because they've got money they need to spend. What if you change that so that whenever you created more money, you were always looking at the possibilities of it creating even more? Otherwise, it's what you call a zero-sum game. Money in, money out. And the reason that occurs is because you're not looking at things from a different point of view. What if you changed your point of view so that money, when it came in, your first question was, cool, I wonder how we could create more with this money, rather than, oh, thank heavens, I can pay my bills. So it starts with the way you see the world up here, not the amount of money that's coming in. So when you're looking, and we'll continually say to you, the best way to reduce your costs is to create more money. Now, the create more money then should be from a different energy of, now, with this money that I'm creating, what would it take for that to create even more? Otherwise, you've gone to the state of mind where you've said, I've created money, that's the end of the story. It will now go out and pay all my bills.
So how many reference points are you using to avoid the money and the capacity to generate money you could be choosing? Everything that is time of God zillion, destroy and create it all, please. Right or wrong, good or bad, POC and POD, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Vincent, what reference point and objective are you using to avoid the money you could be choosing? Everything that is time of God zillion, destroy and create it all, please. Right or wrong, good or bad, POC and POD, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. We all have reference point that we use to define, to judge, to get whether we're doing well or not. So all of the reference points you have, destroy and create it all. Right or wrong, good or bad, POC and POD, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds.
Great stuff, Vincent. Thank you. And I look forward to seeing your musings on Facebook as well. Okay, so now Zach Alexandra wrote this question. In essence, I'll summarize it. And what she said is that as soon as I slow down, I mean, she goes on and says, look, I've got ADD. Well, a lot of people do, but you're a very fast ADD person. And as soon as I slow down, she says, I distract myself. And when I'm distracted, I'm not vibrationally compatible anymore. I'd like to change this. So my question is, how can I have more ease with being this fast? How can I use it to create more money, more revenue streams, to create more of everything that I truly desire in my life? Okay, here's a little thing that you might want to write down that most people won't get, but Alexandra, I think you might. This reality rewards quickness and fastness. It does not reward perfection. One more time. This reality rewards being fast. It does not reward being perfect. If you keep that in mind when you're looking at your day job, if you keep that in mind when you're dealing with people, that you will actually make more money by being quicker than you will by being slow. And don't judge it. And in particular, don't judge it as trying to get something perfect, so therefore you must slow down for it to be perfect. So very much your fastness, your moving at the speed of light is a gift that in this reality, businesses will reward as long as you recognize it as a gift and not as a liability.
What would it be like for you to claim on and acknowledge that your ADD and your ADHD and your capacity to be speedy, your obsessive compulsive creator as a gift? And what can you be and do to use that gift to create more in your life and to be the catalyst for change in the world? Everything that would not allow you to claim on and acknowledge that. Destroy and uncreate it all, please. Right or wrong, good or bad, POC and POD, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. I am claim on and acknowledge my obsessive, compulsive creator. I just finished writing The Conscious Leader for Future That Are Sustainable in the 2 months. So now it's at publisher now. But that is energy, space, and consciousness. That we have to claim that if we have that as a gift and start asking, so how can I use this to my advantage? Alexandra asking, how can I use my ADD to my advantage without having to slow down and still at the same time being vibrationally compatible with money, with total ease, while we're being ADD and obsessive compulsive creator with total ease.
So one of the things, and I'll allude to a comment that Tabitha Hobbins has made here, where creating passive income is the key, automatic 24/7 income. Really? Now, one of the things that we often find is people come up with definitions, and thanks for putting that in there, Tabitha.
Of the reference point that you have about passive of the reference point and of the objective that you have with passive income that based on this contextual reality. Would you be willing to destroy and uncreate it all, please? Right or wrong, good or bad, POC and POD, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. If you would like to create money and wealth and financial freedom, would you be willing to look at what could be created for you from awareness and not what you think will create for you? Again, be willing to be aware of what could create for you, not what you think will create for you.
Please get this. This is really powerful. What you think it will create is what everyone else tells you it will create. Multi-level marketing is the answer to all of the financial problems that you've got. Or passive income through share dividends is the only way to go. Or passive income through rent. Have you ever tried to passively manage people? It doesn't work that way. So the whole notion of passive income is a lie in this reality, because as soon as you take your awareness and your attention for something, it blows up in your face. So this whole notion of, and again, thanks very much, Tabitha, for raising this one. What
was Tabitha's?
It was more of a comment. A comment, I think, with a little smiley face, because she's being a little elf, aren't you, Tabitha? So creating passive income is the key, automatic 24/7 income, she says with a cheeky grin. And that's what this reality believes is actually true.
It's truly possible, but it's not what according to the reference point of this reality.
Yeah. So everywhere where anyone tells you, whoever it might be, the financial advisors, the people on television, the people that say that they're wealthy because they're teaching you how to do a wealth course. Really? So really, what you need to do is to have your own awareness about these things. There are many different ways of creating wealth out there, and we'll cover a whole lot of them. But there will be some that make your heart sing, and they're the ones that you really need to start, paying attention to, educating yourself about, learning different ways of doing it. And the most important thing is doing it in a way that no one else had thought of doing it.
A lot of people in this reality use the word passive income, meaning that they don't have to do anything to earn that income. So we still talk about what would it be like if you create obscene amount of money without having to trade your time for money. So when people are talking about passive, meaning you don't trade your time for money, but you still have to be willing to do, have, create, and generate something from generative energy, space, and consciousness that you are. So it's never passive, because when you let go of your generative energy, space, and consciousness, and you think it's passive, it will diminish as quickly as it could grow. So for us, we don't use the word passive, but we look at the word generative wealth and generative income.
Which means we're always aware of it, we're always working with it, and we're always looking at ways of actually changing and increasing, and none of it is an answer.
Generative means it keep growing, expanding, and grow more. Passive, sometimes it means that, you investing in something and it just give you, 10% return on your money each month or each week or each day or whatever you are willing to have. But generative income is about become more, create more, and generate more with ease. It's never actually stagnant and be at one amount. It's just keeping going more and more and more and more and expand more.
And Tabitha, you come up with the best things. You've also written there, I just don't want to have to work for the rest of my life. Absolutely, because we've already decided that work is something we don't want to have to do.
What is work? What is work to you?
Do we work? Don't know. We don't call it work, but we make a lot of money. We have a lot of fun with it. Now, do you mean, and Tabitha, you don't have to answer this, but often people, the definition, you'll love this. There's two definitions that people buy into. One is of work and the other one is of retirement. Work is doing something that I don't really want to have to do, but I feel I have no other choice than to do it.
Work is something that hardship and I hate and I don't want to have to do it. But if you love what you're doing and you enjoy what you're doing, it's no work.
And do you know what retirement is? Stopping doing something you've always hated doing so that I can get ready to die because I know nothing else. So good luck with retirement.
We were at the castle for 8 days and watching Gary, not working, but working so hard. He spent every moment moving the things, the furniture, the energy, and everything around with total ease and enjoyment. And, it's just like, it's not work to him, but I haven't seen anyone put so much energy, space, and consciousness into making that castle amazing.
And tired.
And
then doing it all again the next day.
Would love that all of you have a chance to be there one day. It's so amazing. We were there at the beginning when it was just an old rundown castle, dusty and closed up for
no one had been there since 1970.
years.
Yeah.
And when we went there last week, it just like blown away. Listen can attest to that. She was there as well. It's just like, I look at the castle and couldn't even fathom how the whole thing transpire and be the way it is right now. It just blown me away. Every morning when I woke up in that castle, I thought, wow, how does it get any better than this?
So we've had some other questions come through, and there's a great one in there that is talking about, well, how can I be with my partner, with my significant other? How can I be with my husband or with my wife or with my business partner when they see life differently and they see it from it's hard, it's difficult, the lies of scarcity, there's not enough, it's really hard, and there's nothing we can do about it, so we may as well work until we're dead. That sort of energy behind the things. So
the key answer there is, are you willing to out-create that person in every moment, in every day? You can be the creator source of different reality. You can make the choice to be the catalyst for change and for different possibility from the generative energy, space, and consciousness that you can be. You cannot force your partner whether your life partner or your business partner to choose to change.
You cannot expect them to change.
But
you
you
can invite them.
change.
You can change, and you can invite them by the change that you're willing to be. But if you try and force someone to change, it will not end well for anyone.
You can't force people to change, but you can out-create them. You can out-create everyone by who you are choosing to be. So everywhere that you are not willing to know that it's truly possible for you to out-create everyone and everything with total ease, destroy and uncreate it all, please. Right or wrong, good or bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. But first, would you be willing to out-create yourself every day?
Yeah. Please don't blame someone else for creating the financial situation that you find yourself in. Always look from the space of, so what do I need to be and do different that will create a different reality for me? And then you can invite the other person to be a part of that. Sometimes it'll work out, sometimes it won't, particularly with business partners.
So would you be willing to first out-create yourself every day? So how do you do that? First, you have to be willing to create yourself new every day. Are you willing to create yourself new every day and destroy and uncreate who you were yesterday and create yourself totally new today? So, I mean, most of you who have been doing Access for quite some time, you can start every day by saying, who am I today? And what grand and glorious adventure could I be having today? That question is a question that you ask the universe to have your back, to allow you to create yourself new every day. Who am I today? Meaning, who am I today? Whatever I was yesterday, I'm destroying and create all of that. So that question alone, when you wake up, open your eyes in the morning and ask, who am I today? And what grand and glorious adventure could I be having today? It's just like I'm destroying and create who I was yesterday, and I am willing to create myself new today. And basically, from that space forward, you are willing to out-create yourself and be more than you have been willing to be yesterday. Because if you wake up in the morning and say, oh, yesterday was a shit day, and today it's going to be another shit day as well, what are you going to be creating? But if you're able to destroy and create whatever day you created yesterday and be willing to have adventure of today and create and out-create yourself today from yesterday, it's magnificent and it's wonderful that you not actually create yourself same but different every day.
You'll create greater ease in your life if you don't try and change anyone.
So please try tomorrow morning. Wake up in the morning and say, all of life come to me with ease, joy, and glory. We all have used that, but not too many people have used it. Scary talked a lot in the last few days about using all of life come to me with ease, joy, and glory, and you will never recognize yourself by even just using that for anything that you think is a problem. Every time that you're starting to have the reference point or the objective, or even you sense a problem, just say, all of life come to me with ease, joy, and glory. And please, please, please start with saying, who am I today? And what grand and glorious adventure would I be having today? And start creating yourself new today without reference point of what you were yesterday, without the reference point of the problem you had yesterday, and create your life today and be willing to out-create yourself today. Everything that is, time of Godzillion, destroy and create it all. Right or wrong, good or bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds.
So, have any questions come to anyone about the last 4 weeks where we've had these about being aware of our own financials, being aware of the being attractive to money and being the, what was the word we used?
vibrationally
compatible.
compatible and vibrationally attractive to
I think
money.
probably the key thing in all of that is don't give up on it. It actually works. We know this because we've been there, we've done it, we've used it constantly. Vibrationally appealing, vibrationally attractive, and anything else vibrationally with money that's actually going to make your life even greater. Thanks, Rachel. So please just keep working with these things. We do this all the time, and there is no end point. It's actually a lot of fun. So as soon as you start to make even more money, keep running the processes, because there's more than more. You can actually have more than more. If you've decided what more looks like to you, then you're just missing out on all the things that are possible.
Or if you have decided that different multiple stream of possibilities should look like, you might miss what might show up in your life totally. And you know, who you choose to be is the key things here that I'm sure Listen can actually share about who she's choosing to be and the gift that she's being that would allow her to be something that allow different possibilities to show up in her life. She can get different projects, different possibility that show to her because she's using her talent and ability, and when people can see her talent and ability, she get a new job.
You're talking about the same Leeson who's
I don't know,
been
but
given
Leeson,
the
are you
job.
willing to, can we ask you to actually share that?
Absolutely. It is funny because when I look at it, I started asking different questions after your last call. And also looking at wherever I've decided about money, my points of views, results, and showing up at the castle and choosing everything that had the energy of joy, that made me super happy. And yes, I arrived at the castle, and yes, I got a new job too.
And the thing is though, listen, if you arrive at the castle and think that your talent and ability is about the enjoyment of the antique and enjoyment of the jewelry. But if you have a fixed point of view that the only way that you could make your money is by selling your
buying
jewelry,
and selling,
buying and selling jewelry, and if that is the only point of view you have about your talent and ability in the enjoyment of antique is buying and selling money, what energy, space, and consciousness would you be that would not allow different possibilities to happen? So for you to destroy and uncreate the fixed point of view that's the only way to be, allow you to shine as your talent and ability with antique and things. And now Listen just got the job to what? Listen, you share.
Yeah, I was like, yes. To start, well, in the castle, Gary has bought a lot of silver and other things, but basically things weren't matched right. So tea sets and coffee sets weren't matched, and wrong designs in every room. This is so beautiful. In every room, there's a tray with tea, coffee, sugar, and cream, and sometimes also a spoon bowl. But they were a little mixed up. And I was walking through with Stephen. He showed me the castle. And I was like, oh, that's weird. And it was then mentioned by Gary. And then he asked me if I was willing to take care of the silver and match it up. Now he even added more things to my job to even also train the staff to be able to use everything they have in silver, because they have a lot of things for serving and taking care of food and all of that, and how to put the glasses together, how much wine do you put in a glass when you're serving it. So there's just like the next step.
And the real exciting thing for us in watching this is seeing Leeson choosing to destroy and uncreate what she thought the jewelry business was. Because if she had thought jewelry business is just buying low, selling high, she would never have been there in that place, nor been willing to receive the job essentially of creating the systems for all of the silverware and all the crockery for one of the most magnificent places on this earth.
And if Leeson,
And this is not public yet, so we just thought we'd tell everyone.
Can we use Leeson as example? Because we talked to Leeson for quite some time that she used to see that her knowledge about antique and jewelry is about buying something and then selling it to make money and showing. You can see that that's much smaller than what the new project that she's given, because this project is she able to use her capacity to see, to understand the beauty of the silver, because at the castle we have so many set of silverware where, you know, eating and the elegance of eating everything with pure silver cutleries and things. But we have staff who probably never actually been exposed to that before, and they couldn't see that. They set the table that's not matching of anything, and they couldn't even see what matching looks like.
But they were all forks.
But they're all forks. To them, forks are forks, knives are knives. But what Gary would like...
Or as Rachel would say, well, fork that.
What Gary would like is for them to actually able to see that how much more elegance of the joy of being if you have the whole set there matching, the fork, the knife, and the teaspoon matching, but to most people are not. And for the space that Leeson was being, she able to show that she knows how to actually train the staff to see what it would be like to able to match. So her space now is growing than just buy and sell antique.
It's about
to
time.
Actually to educate people of how what being the pleasure and the ease and the joy and the being with the antique is. So you can, if you tap into that energy, it's so much bigger now.
And he asked me if I
can just buy and sell antique.
He asked me to create a whole system in all the cupboards and all that, so it becomes really practical to be used by a staff. And I was like, oh yeah, that's easy. And he was having so much fun looking at all those things, and also to decorate the whole restaurant area so it's beautiful and used.
So beautiful. Yeah. Congratulations, Leeson. I don't know whether it's supposed to be a public knowledge.
Too late.
I don't know either. Well, he did publicly say that I got hired to take care of the silver and the COP, so I think it's okay.
Can I just say again, for everyone listening to this, it is very much a very practical example. It's only a couple of days old, of someone who has chosen to destroy any definition of what they thought their business should look like. And that's opened the space for other new businesses. Now, what we're inviting Leeson to do is to do that with every other part of her life as well, including the other businesses she has, because we want to watch and sit back and go, look at her go. This is what we invite everyone to do.
And this can be applied to everyone, like Malika. What other possibilities can you create with your art? Rachel, what other possibility you can be using your talent and ability to create something totally different? But the only thing can occur if you destroy and uncreate your reference point and your objective about how you could make your money with your gift. So all of the gift you are being and having in your life, destroy and uncreate all of the reference point of how you can create the business and how you can actually make the money with it. What you think you can make the money with your gift. Destroy and uncreate all of that and be willing to see other possibilities that you could create and generate your life, your business, and your money with your gift. We use Leeson to as example because it was just so obvious. Like up until 8 days ago, she just saw that her gift is to be able to buy the jewelry somewhere and sell it to make money. I'm sure you didn't think about become training staff to appreciate the beautiful silver and how to set up and how to use all these, right, Leeson? So no,
only when I arrived there.
So everywhere that you're not quite sure yet what else is possible for you, you have to keep asking, claim on and acknowledge my gift. I'm really good at it. So what else can I be and do with my gift that I have not yet considered? Because Lee Sun couldn't have considered getting a job, being training staff to appreciate the antique at the castle, were you? You didn't go in there thinking that that's what you're going to be doing. So you would not know, but you have to be willing to be ready. Be willing to be ready to receive different possibility and say, yes,
And
I'm
just say
choosing
yes.
that.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm choosing that. I'm going to be that. I'm going to have that. Something that you have not yet considered. So each one of you have something that you can generate, something totally different with your talent and ability and the gift that you have not yet considered. Everywhere that would not allow you to see that, to perceive that, to have that. Destroy and create it all, please. Right or wrong, good or bad, POC and POD, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyond.
So all of you that see yourself as artists, all of you that see yourself as singers, as body workers, as employees, as business owners, if you would destroy and uncreate any definition that you have already decided that's how it must look like, that's the start of actually being generative with wealth.
So everything that you love doing and you're so good at and you're not making much money with it, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate your fixed point of view about how you can create and generate business and money with that gift, and be willing to see what else is possible? What else can I be, do, have, create, and generate using my talent and ability and then my gift that I have not yet considered? Everything that would not allow you to be able to perceive, know, be, and receive that. Destroy and uncreate it all, please. Right or wrong, good or bad, POC and POD, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. What possibilities are you not choosing that you truly could be choosing, that if you choose it, would allow you to have generative wealth in your life with total ease? Everything that would not allow you to have that. Destroy and uncreate it all. Right or wrong, good or bad, POC and POD, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds.
One of the great questions I've personally found very useful in my quite long career has been to look at something and to say, okay, so what if I could do this without doing this? What if I could do this without doing this? And what that does for me is it gets me to look at something from a very different perspective. So we've used this, when I was CEO of all my organizations, when we were doing performance reviews. What if I could do a performance review without doing a performance review? And that gave the most amazing insight into how else things could be done that would create a greater impact with the least amount of effort, which is the best definition of elegance you'll come across. So what if I could do this without doing this? It's a very similar to the insanity question, which is everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. What if I could do this without doing this? Fantastic question. I use that in my role as a CEO. What if I could be a CEO without being a CEO? What if I could be a board chair without being a board chair? And what that does is it breaks down all of the unlooked at or the unacknowledged limitations that you think is just the way everyone has to do it. Try it. Be a good one for you, Vincent.
Any other questions before we move on to the theme of today? This session.
We have a theme.
We have a theme.
We have a theme.
Yes.
Okay, so keep the questions coming. This is really cool, the chats that are going on there. Do we want to talk about
a question, guys?
Hey,
Yeah, hi, Rachel.
Hello, Rachel.
Hi. If this question isn't relevant, just to tell me. So basically, I'm doing a first trip to China in December. And so I have the host that I've a translator and a host and everything's in place. But the host is coming back all the time to change the deal and deliver and wants a different percentage. And now she's asking for the percentage to go up to 20%. And now she's asking if a facilitator recommends someone, can they get commission? And so basically, yeah, I'm just looking for some input or...
Okay, so
basically you have to don't go into conclusion, projection, and expectation about anything, because as you know that different creation can create different possibilities. So always be question, choice, possibility, and contribution about that ratio. First, destroy and uncreate of the reference point about how you have been creating with other classes, other projects, and start to ask your business, because the class that you're going to be doing in China is a business in itself. See it as a business that you are creating, and be in communion and be in touch with that business about what could you be creating with that business in China more than what you have ever considered.
And be willing to walk away. If you are the energy of the willingness to walk away at any time,
you have to be willing to walk away.
And literally be willing to walk away.
If it doesn't work for you,
walk away.
Got to be willing to walk away.
Oh, well, next.
It's no fixed point of view. Never create anything from the fixed point of view about how it's supposed to be. Always ask, what else is possible? If what the deal and deliver achieve and it's not working for you, you must ask yourself, so what would it work for you? And then if that's not going to work for the people you deal with, you have to be willing to say, you know what, it's not working for me. Nice, working with you, but I'm just not going to choose that anymore.
And this is an important one, I think, for everyone to be aware of. Just be aware of any energies that come up where I would rather have 100% of nothing that I control than 60% of things that I have little control over.
And it should never be about money. It for us, it's about possibilities. Because you're creating the future possibilities as well as what you are creating right now. A lot of people looking at the short term. Would you be willing to look at the long-term potential possibility that you are creating and be the question about, if I choose this, what would I be creating? What would my choice create for the long term? Mm-hmm. If the choice that you create for the short term is not really conducive to what you would like to create, but is this going to create more in your life and create more in the world long term? And if you get the yes, it's not linear and it makes no sense. A lot of time we make choice to for the long term that make no sense for the short term. And at the end, it tends to work out more than we could ever imagine. So you have to be willing to destroy and uncreate all of the reference points and all your objective about what you are creating in the short term, and be willing to be the question. So the short term doesn't look too good, and it looks like it's not working at all for me. But how is it creating? What am I creating in terms of the long term? Is it create more in my life for everyone and create more for everyone concerned in the long term? And choose from that space.
The other part is, if you feel annoyed or frustrated, I'm just picking these words out of your head, Rachel. Annoyed or frustrated or disappointed or
and
surprised,
feel like you're being taken advantage
of, just recognise that is just an indicator of a fixed point of view about how something should be. And because it's not meeting what we've already decided should be, you get annoyed. I know this personally. If ever I get annoyed with something, after a minute or two, I recognise it's because it's not meeting what I'd already decided should have happened, which by its very definition is a fixed point of view. So what if I had no point of view on this? What would I then choose is a very different question.
So would you be willing to be aware of what you could create instead of what you think it should be created?
Totally, because when I asked the question, would it create more to actually give people who are referring people to classes, I got a yes on it. And then I was looking at it from the place of creation for the future. What would it create for Access? What would it create for China? And there was a twist in the energy, and I didn't know exactly what that was. And that's the part that I didn't have the clarity on. So I've been running what energy, space and consciousness can I be to have clarity with this with total ease. And
so ask, what is this?
Okay.
Is there anything I can do to change this?
Okay, so what is this I get now that there's control on her? There's a trying to control her a little bit.
You think?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so can you change that?
Yes.
Is there anything that you can be and do different to change that? What is, something, communication is the big thing. We tend to not communicate with the people by just talking and then communicate and say, it's not working for me.
Yeah.
Not choosing to do it. If it's not working for me, what else can we be and do and create and generate together that will work for both of us?
Exactly. And what I did was I went back to her with every single piece and I addressed it all. So, and that we have another meeting. So let's see what that creates now.
Mm-hmm. Just be aware, if you ever come across the energy of justification, again, just ask yourself, am I doing this to prove or am I doing it to create? That's something we use every single day.
I listened. You gave me that in Dublin and it's changed my life with everything.
Yeah.
I just take it just a second and go, hang on a second, now am I trying to prove something here? Am I looking to create? And sometimes I am trying to prove stuff.
And there's nothing wrong with that. It just gives you an awareness.
Yeah.
Sometimes the evil little elf comes out to play.
Yeah. Totally. Thanks.
So everything that you have done to try to prove instead of create, just allow yourself to be aware of that and poke and pot it, because we all go into that space of proving so easily and quickly without even knowing it. So the only way to destroy and uncreate it is to catch ourselves and say, am I proving here or am I creating here? So if I'm proving, so poke and pot off that. What would it take for me to create from different space here?
If I was to create, what would that look like? So you're dealing with this situation. If I was to create from this, what would that look like? And then just keep asking that question. Have fun with it.
That's brilliant. I listen back to this again. Thanks so much. That's after changing it now. Yeah.
Cool.
Pleasure.
Okay, thanks, Rachel. So we get on to this cool question that we're asked.
So this week we're going to look at being generative with money and generate money instead of working hard for your money. It's not about passive income, but about becoming the generative source of your own reality and your own life, and choosing to become the generative source of your financial reality.
I like that. It could be general source. I like that one too.
So we have a few questions that coming through that can sum up into this one. Though.
So I sort of summarized these questions that came through, and the really question was would we talk about our strategy for growing our wealth and our business? Is that of interest to people? And because we've got lots of questions about it, we're going to take that as a yes.
Yeah.
So our strategies, what do we put in place? What are our strategies for growing our wealth and also for growing our business? What does that look like in this reality? And what are the things that we put in place to actually create?
Basically, people ask, so how did we grow our wealth? How did we grow our business? And how can we share with you guys so you can apply it to your life? And it's very simple thing is, before you can grow your business, you have to let go of the point of view of being employee of this reality you have to let go of the point of view of a consumer, that you're here to consume, you're here to spend money, you're here to get money and spend, to the point of view of you are being a stakeholder, you are being a creator of different reality. That is the first thing before you could even set any strategy to build your wealth and grow your business.
You're not a victim of this reality. You create this reality. It's that energy of you have total choice in everything, including your current situation. And it's not philosophical. It actually is true. You are the creator source. You do have the ability to choose different. And then from that choice, do things different, as well as what you're currently doing.
So everywhere that would not allow you to perceive, know, be, and receive yourself as a stakeholder, as the catalyst for different possibility in your financial reality, destroy and uncreate it all, please. Right or wrong, good or bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. As long as you're hanging on to getting money and also spending money and being the employee for someone or employee of this reality, you're not going to build and grow wealth with total ease. Everything that is, time of Godzillion, destroy and uncreate it all. Right or wrong, good or bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys, and beyond.
We both have looked at this differently because we've had different careers. So, for example, when I've been the CEO of 4 organisations, I've been on the chair of boards of many larger organisations, and it wasn't until I asked myself, okay, so what have I defined as my career that actually doesn't have to be? And what if I was being a CEO without being a CEO? We talked about those things before. What do I want as my reality? And from there, it started to grow into, well, I can both be a CEO and also not a CEO. Well, what does not being a CEO mean? Well, it means I can do other things as well. What would those other things be? And that created a whole consulting business while I was still the CEO of a multi-million-dollar organization. And then Chutisa started asking with the work that she was doing, so what else is possible here? And as soon as she started looking at being the chief financial officer of our life and therefore our businesses, as well as the work she was doing, that totally changed. And that's where it all started from, is to break down what we'd already decided our careers would have to be, whether it be as a career as an artist or a career as a consultant, or a career as a fill in the blanks, whatever it might be. Once you break down any definitions you got about what you think that should be, then you can start looking. And this is particularly for those of you who are ADD, ADHD, or just darn fast. There's no reason you cannot add to your life constantly.
But the key thing about the strategy, when people hear the word strategy and you immediately go into, oh, this is the beyond for me, I don't want to know anything about strategy. Strategy is not fixed. You have to be willing to create something not from the fixed point of view. And it has to be an adventure of life and living. The funny thing is strategic planning is the thing that our bread and butter money that we run.
We make a lot of money from strategic planning.
But we don't do the strategy from that place. Our strategy is to have an adventure of life and living. So it's no fixed point of view. And our strategy is constantly asking what else is possible. That's a key question that we ask all the time, not from the fixed point of view about how we want our life to be, but we know the energy, space, and consciousness that we want to create our life. We want to create a life that's full of possibilities, and we want to be the catalyst for change. So anything that matches that energy, we go and do it and have it. Whether it has such a huge dollar value attached or not, as long as the energy of possibility is expansive and great for now and in the future. We always ask the question: if we choose this, will it create greater for now and for the future? And if we get yes, we go and do it. We don't have a fixed strategy at all. We always ask what else is possible. But we don't actually, have a fixed idea invested in the outcome of how it's supposed to look
like. In fact, about 20 years ago, we stopped using the word how. You've heard us before, how, start. But how? We'll start. But how? Start. I could go on all day. But it's very much, once we got rid of that word how from our universe, things started to occur. And you'll find this, once you start putting this into practice, once you start being this, you will realize that time has no meaning then. There is nothing to stop you from creating more. Time will never stop you unless you decide it. I was having a conversation with a colleague who we love dearly, and I was chatting to her about how she disappeared, and we hadn't really felt her energy for probably 8 months or so. And I said, "And I know you're terribly busy." And she said, "Well, what do you mean by being busy?" I said, "Well, once you've decided you're busy, you disappear. So what if there was no such thing as busy? What if you were always present and your modus operandi, your way of being was, okay, what else can I add to my life?" That way you can never disappear. And this is what often happens, is when people have decided they're busy, they disappear. They disappear from a whole lot of things, including their vibrational compatibility with money. So as soon as you've decided you're busy, you don't have the time, I'm already too busy to do anything else, then you are starting to break down that connection you have and that compatibility with money.
But the key strategy for us about growing our wealth, growing our business, and growing our finance is that we see our life as our business. A few of you who've been talking to us before, you will hear that we always talking about, we see our life as our business, not 7 multiple stream of possibility that we create as business. They are just multiple stream of possibility that we have. But in this reality, we call it business because each and every one of those stream of possibility has their own tax file number. Every single one of them operate within this reality as a business. But really the true business is our life. And for us to create the strategy for our business, our financial wealth is about being in touch of what we call our life, which is our business. Be in touch with, have the awareness of the future of our business, which is our life. Therefore, if we know what the future of our life, which is our business, is, then when there are different streams of possibility pop up in our universe to present itself, we can ask, will this create more for us to add another one? When we got invited to be part of this castle as investor, it just matched the energy of what we would like to create as our life. So we say yes, because it's all choices. But if we don't know what we would like to create as our life, and something like investing for the castle pop up, we have to be able to say, okay, can we generate and create more money to actually invest in these?
The answer is always yes.
The answer always yes. The next question is, what would we have to be and do different for us to generate and create more beyond what we have ever considered?
And that question generated another business, which then created the revenue that helped. So every choice creates, and these are not just nice truism words to put on sticky notes to put on your refrigerator. They actually work. And that's what we ask ourselves. So what else do we need to be and do different here? Okay, so let's try this. And that became very, very successful and is one of our major businesses now.
So for each and every one of you probably have the possibility and opportunity that show up for you to be part of. But if your life is not your business, and if you're not having the awareness, and if you don't tap into what you would like to create, the future of your business, and there could be another castle pop up somewhere for you, are you ready and prepared to be willing to say yes to that? And if you say yes to something, are you willing to ask, so what can I be and do different to allow me to generate and create more, to be able to be part of this? Because it can happen that quickly. It's not something like the possibility and opportunity appear for you. And if you take too long to say yes or no, it's either you in or you out. You know, all of these investment, like when the castle appear, the question is, are you in or are you out? It's just like that. And if you say you are in, the question you have to be willing to be is, what can I be and do different to generate more money beyond what I am creating right now, beyond what I have ever considered, to be part of it? So be prepared to know that something will show up in your universe, present itself and say, are you willing to be part of this? Are you in or are you out? And if you don't have it's not a strategy, but the willingness to create and generate more, and willing to open yourself up to receive and trust that if something appear in your life, you can generate and create money with total ease that would allow you to be part of it, then you're going to ignore it and let it go away. Because like when we were asked about the castle, it's like, are you in or are you out? That quickly.
So what is our strategy for our wealth creation? Our strategy, very simply, is to have no point of view about what it should look like. Do we
never vested in any outcome?
Do we sit down with a piece of paper and map out the next 3 years? Heck no. I have enough trouble figuring out tomorrow. But what we do is constantly go where the energy takes us, constantly go where we say, this will create more in our life, and never function. And what we find, what we don't do is we function from how much money in the bank have we got in the bank and what can we spend that on. What we do function from is, okay, let's go out and create even more. Now, how can we make that create even more? And that's things like jewelry, some of our online products and programs, the castle. I mean, we thought we were going to, at some stage, going to get into real estate business. At no time did we think we'd be getting into the castle business. So it is what it is when it turns up. But what we've always found
But if you had a fixed point of view that the real estate is looked at a certain way, then, you know, if we say we're going to rent the commercial property or we're going to invest in commercial property, then we're going to assign all our money into that. So when there's something like a castle appear, we probably wouldn't be able to take part in it. So be aware that you have to be willing to not have a fixed point of view and be willing to shift and change as the different possibilities show up in your life. So no fixed point of view is one first strategy.
So we're giving you the strategic plan for generating and creating.
No fixed point of view
about what it should look like.
No point of view about how it should be, and be willing for it to be whatever it show up, and be in the question about, would this work for us? What would we have to be and do to be a part of this? Is something that we ask every day for it to come up, and never go into delusional or Pico University. We're talking about Pico Universe last session.
And the other thing is to absolutely recognize that none of it's linear. So, we take the castle, for example. Will we get a return on investment from that? No idea. Not expecting one at the moment, not expecting one into the future. But what we are constantly saying is, okay, so how can we create more by our involvement with this? What else can we create with this? Rather than sitting back and waiting for the passive income to come in.
See, so when we make a choice to invest in something like that, we not sit back and say, what return on investment are we going to be making? We are constantly asking, what contribution can we be to make this investment even grow more, generate more, and be more? Not because we expect any return on investment for us. So most of the investment or any wealth strategy that we do, we're not looking at a quick return on money, but we look at what contribution that can be in our life and what contribution can we be to that project.
So here's a real life example. So we have one business called Conscious Governance, which is the board advisory, strategy, risk, leadership, advisory and seminar producing business, which is a major cash flow business for us, generates a lot of cash. Until recently, I defined it as the cash flow generator for our other businesses. And that was putting a stop on what else we could create. Because if I was seeing that as only the cash flow, it could be no greater. It will only ever be a cash flow. So now we're starting to play with, well, what if it didn't have to be that way? What else is possible? Just this morning, we were having this conversation. What definitions have I put in place about the advisory business that if they weren't there, would create something even greater in our life? I've got no idea what that looks like. But gee, I'm going to be playing with that over the next 6 months. I'll tell you in 6 months' time how it works. Don't know at the moment, but I know it'll be different than what it is now. And the cash flow business will still be there, but there'll be something even greater in place.
I think the key thing that we would invite you all to look at this question is that you have to be willing to look at what could create wealth and money for you, not what you think would create wealth and money for you.
That's an important distinction. What will, not what you think will.
Be aware of what could create money for you. For example, let's use the book Conscious Leader that I just finished. If I buy into this contextual reality, I would go into thinking how the conscious leadership book could create money for me. Meaning I could think, okay, I will publish it. I will travel the world promoting it. I will get myself on every single stage, be a keynote speaking.
Workshops around
I run the workshop, but that is so contextual. And we probably still be doing that, but not from the space of that is the answer. As soon as I go into, okay, this is what I think, how Conscious Leader book, the new book, going to create money for me, I'm already trapped myself up in the limitation of this contextual reality about publish the book, promote the book, being a keynote, run the workshop. But what else is possible? And I sense that there are such different possibilities that this book can create and generate more in my life beyond what I have ever considered yet. So I have to be willing to open myself up to say, okay, so what else can I create and generate with this book that beyond what I have ever considered, and be willing to be aware when all of those show up. Now, and you are all here first, because it's at the publisher as we speak. So who knows what is going to be created and thing. Of course, we're still going to be doing, traveling the world and do promotion and then being keynote.
But what else?
Because those not just the answer.
So all of you that are artists, Melika and every artists, Melika and all the others out there, where you've already decided. We're all artists. So you could be the artist as in artwork, you could be the artist with jewelry, you could be the artist with putting things that belong together, like Leeson's doing. So it's wherever you've decided what you are as an artist, what if you ask a different question? What else is possible with this? What else can be created with this gift? And still do what you're currently doing. I guarantee what will happen is if you think you want to sell more of something, then you've already started to destroy your business.
Well, let's say if you're an artist or designer or an author, and if you think that the only way that you can create a business and generate money with it is by creating whatever you create and sell and make money with it, that is a limitation. Start asking, what else can I create with the gift that I have create and generate beyond what I have ever considered? Because if you haven't asked that question, and if you think that the only way to do is make your product and sell, what limitation are you creating there? What possibility are you eliminating from not asking the question? What else can I be, do, have, create, and generate with my gift, with my talent and ability beyond what I have ever considered? And please do not be invested in the what it's supposed to look like. As soon as you say, oh, but I asked that question
What's
and
my gift?
I haven't received any answer yet, you are vested in the answer and the outcome. Just stay open, be curious, be flexible. The key thing is curiosity, flexible, receiving different possibility is the key. Don't look for the answer.
I love some of the artists that we've dealt with over many, many years, because some of them are brilliant. And those that are brilliant are those that recognize that their gift is that they see the world differently. And if they can take that gift into all sorts of different ways, not just with what they paint or what they sculpt or what they form, but if they can take that gift of seeing the world in a different way into every part of their life, then they're a true artist rather than someone trying to do art. So what would that look like in your world if you're able to look at it from that space?
Let's address the question from whoever about the educating finance, because we promised that we're going to talk about it.
Yep.
Which is going to be a big topic for next time we're together. Educating yourself about finance.
Jasmine Wong, who I think is on this call. I saw her on before, she's still on. So thank you for this one, Jasmine. We've got 80 people on this call, so I can't see a name at the moment.
So education.
Well, can I read the question out?
Sure.
So the question said, Jasmine said, the thing that stuck me the most in the second call was the bit about educating myself about money. I desired to do that for years, but every time I actually get down to doing it, there seems to be immense inertia and resistance in starting and in comprehending the material. Do you have any insights, awareness, or tips for that to be more ease? How can it be more fun and less significant? What if I'm looking for awareness? Oh, well, that was my answer. I was reading my answer out.
Jasmine, what reference point are you using to create the confusion about financial education that you are choosing? Everything that is time, a Godzillion, destroy and uncreate it all, please. Right or wrong, good or bad, POC and POD, online, shorts, voice, and beyond. When people hear the word educating yourself about finance, they go into the point of view that they have to read, Financial Review and study
pages of numbers
and understanding the number and reading following the stock exchange or reading the New York Times or something. No, educating yourself about your finance is a start. So before you go and educate yourself about money, you have to be willing to educate yourself about your finance. And we're starting from the first week that we were together. Educating yourself about your finance is to know your financial situation. The education about your finance is, what is your revenue stream of income? What is your asset? What is your liability? What is your net worth? What is what is good debt and bad debt? How to use the debt to expand and generate more money.
What else do I need to know about my financial system, and what sexy terms can I use?
What is my current financial situation? What can I be and do different to expand my current financial situation? These are all education about your own personal finance, not about going out and read about things. That's the next step. Once you educate yourself about your personal finance, when you know everything about your personal finance, you are educated about your personal finance. What would it be like you know exactly what's your asset, What's your liability? What would it take for you to turn all your liability into generative asset? Those are the true generative financial being who can turn liability into
expenses into revenue, liabilities into assets, because you can do all of that. And you don't have to be an expert on anything. You just need to look at what is going to work for you and be insatiably curious with no point of view. We may have mentioned this before, but one of the things that makes us an awful lot of money is something that Chutisa refused to do for 10 years until one day she said, okay, I'm over that point of view. What if this was going to be fun? And once she chose for it to be fun, she then educated herself. She educated me, and now we're having huge amounts of fun. She cannot wait to wake up to be able to deal with some of the things in the morning that she has an awful lot of fun with.
Do you know, educating yourself about first personal finance, educating yourself about your own finance, then you start looking at different things that are fun for you. Next one, you can educate yourself about gold, about different ways you can invest in gold. That is so much fun. But gold is not an investment. Gold is a hedge. So that is first education.
Find out what we mean. Look it up.
What does it mean if you want to play with gold? What does it mean if you want to play with silver? How many different ways you can put the money in gold and silver, particularly if you have 10% account. If you start doing your 10% account and you don't want to risk your 10% account in terms of really high risk investment, then you can use gold and silver as the way to store your wealth.
And here's another great question. One of the best ways to educate yourself is to ask something like this. How can I invest in gold without investing in gold? What can I do different that will enable me to be part of gold without owning gold? So, what if I could own gold in a different way than everyone else owns gold? Because that will open up, because the answer is yes to all of those. But you will never find out if you don't ask those questions.
So first thing is educate yourself about your personal finance. If you haven't done that listing of all your asset or your liability, next week we can talk about how you can calculate your net worth.
2 weeks.
Yep. In 2 weeks.
Calculate
time.
Your net worth. Yeah. And that maybe we also invite them for the next call is if you've got questions about specific types of investments, but have a look at it first before you ask us a question. So what is it that you would like to know? And then go and do some research yourself about it, and then ask a strategic question about it, not a how-to question. So your homework, your home play, if you choose, is to look at the different types of investments that are out there. How do you do that? Well, just start Googling.
I think I would like to challenge or invite each and every one of you to look at your 10% account. And if you haven't got one, you can start tomorrow, your 10% account, and look at how you could actually use your 10% account and hedge your 10% account. So something like gold and silver, that it's not risky, but it will keep expand and grow and be more. And maybe trying to educate yourself about different way you can put your 10% account into gold. You can buy the solid gold coins. You can buy, in America, there's so many different gold coins that you can buy that will keep growing, expand. So if you're American or European or Canadian or whoever, there's different type of gold coins in your country.
In Asian countries, they've got a different style of gold altogether. Educate yourself what the
jewelry,
different types of gold
you can look at different type of jewelry that you can buy, and then you can look at how you can expand and grow your money if you want to play with gold jewelry. So educate yourself about that, and maybe you can share with each other in Facebook. Would you be willing to actually, each one of you, learn something about gold?
Learn something
how you can
new.
actually use the 10% account that you have to actually invest in some gold coins that will grow in value, or some jewelry, and share with each other in the Facebook about different way you can put your 10% account into gold and silver.
It could be fun. Now, we're going to finish up in a minute there, but I cannot leave this one alone because I love Etoile. This is her first question. And I always listen to Etoile, and she's asked, what do we think about the banking system that's begun to remove cash from the financial system? Do you know what happens, Etoile? Every time the government changes rules, I get excited because once the rules change, it opens up other possibilities. So what we find always is when the government changes a rule to try and regulate or deregulate or over-regulate or under-regulate, I personally get very excited because then it means everyone who's got a fixed point of view about what it should look like is missing the opportunities that we're not going to miss. So when they're starting to pull cash out of the system because they want less of a cash economy, what does that generate for us in terms of possibilities?
We get into being the question, what have we not considered about this that we can use to our advantage?
So we never go, isn't that terrible? We go,
is that the
what
problem?
Could that mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's never a problem.
What possibility are we not considering here is the first thing we look at. When everyone else running around said, this is a problem, this is terrible, this is horrible, we thought, okay, so what else can we see here? What else can be aware of here that no one else ever considered? What else truly possible here? Because what if there's no such thing as a problem, but just different possibility that no one else ever considered?
Someone said the other day that we're terrible problem solvers because we never see the problem. I thought that was funny.
You can't be a problem solver if you don't have a problem.
Okay, folks, hope you found this useful and enjoyable. Please have a look at the investment things. Listen to this again. Share on Facebook, the group, any thoughts or insights you've had around gold in particular. Now, gold is not the answer, but most people they don't understand what gold's about. So start to educate yourself a little, all right? Do a little bit of search on what is gold actually, because I guarantee it is not what most of you think it is. So start to learn a little bit about that, and then we'll give you some other challenges as the next few calls go on. Okay, keep the questions coming, use the Facebook group, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
bye.
Guys. Bye.